there you are, YouTube. Doodle 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 doo. Subscribe if you're interested, but also no pressure. But if you did, I'd also greatly appreciate that. Hey, let's do a random ranking today. Let's go to my movie collection behind me and pick out 3 movies at random, and then we'll rank those movies from most favorite to least favorite based on whatever criteria we come up with. I'll rank them here in the video, but if you'd like to rank them in the comments below, please feel free to do so. Let's get to picking some movies. Let me just, I might pick 3 that are right next to each other. This is getting a little late, and I need to get to bed. So I gotta wake up really early tomorrow for work. So let's see if we've seen these. Yes, yes, and yes. Oh, I like these. Okay, so let's start with Arachnophobia. This one I loved as a child. When I was a kid, this is one of my, I don't know if it was one of my favorite movies, but maybe one of my favorite horror movies. And then a long stretch of time went where I didn't watch it, like probably, I don't know, 30 years or something. And rewatched it maybe 2 Octobers ago. And I didn't like it as much as I did when I was a kid. I thought it was like so slow, and it felt like there were like 2 different movies happening. Because I always remember loving John Goodman. Like, he was my favorite part when I was a kid, and it didn't seem like he was in it very much watching it as an adult. So like all of his stuff really stood out to me, especially the stepping on the spider and being like, I'm bad. Like that part, like that was, I just love that part as a kid. That was my favorite part of the entire movie, when he would do that. And like in my head, I guess I just built up his role like over time, you know, and I talk about Arachnophobia as you know, in the last 30 years, like, oh yeah, I love that John Goodman, right? Yeah, I love that movie, John Goodman. And then it was, I think I was just like building him up in my head over the years, and then rewatching it, what was it, last year, 2 years ago, I think, it was just like, ugh, man, I don't know. And like, Lloyd, Jeff Daniels, not Lloyd Christmas, Harry, Harry, Jeff Daniels, it just felt like he was in a completely different movie than everybody else. Maybe not everybody else. I don't know. It felt like the movie was, this is such a lazy term, I think, but it felt uneven, you know? Like, comic relief can be in a movie, but sometimes, but it has to feel like unified with the rest of the movie, like cohesive, right? And I felt like this movie didn't have that, really. You had like super dramatic moments and then humor, but it didn't feel like the dramatic moments actually didn't fit in with the rest of the movie, because it was like dramatic but not correct for this type of horror movie. I don't know, it all felt strange to me, and I was like, man, that was too bad, because I loved this movie as a kid, and now I'm like, not as into it. Next we have Apollo 13. You know, Apollo 13 is in my top 5 favorite films of all time. I really love the space program, NASA, stuff like that. My dad really loved the movie The Right Stuff and showed me that film when I was a kid. And I remember like him having the Chuck Yeager book, and he grew up, he was a kid in the 60s, a young kid in the 60s, so like the space race and all of that, you know, the flight to the moon, all of that was just like, that he was at a nice young age for all of that to be like dreaming about being an astronaut, that sort of thing, right? And The Right Stuff came out, and you know, he loved that movie and showed it to me when I got, you know, a little bit older, and so I have like a deep connection to that movie. And then this movie eventually came out, and I just loved it, and Tom Hanks was in it. And I remember my mom taking me to see this in the theater when it came out. It was, I believe, like my sister was at like Girl Scout camp or something like that, and whenever my sister went to camp, or you know, one of the kids were away, you know, if I was away, my mom and sister would do stuff, but if my sister was away, my mom and I would like ask if we could see a movie every day. So we saw a movie every day that week that my sister was away for was away for Girl Scout camp, and this was one of the movies that we watched during that week. What else did we watch that week? I almost feel like Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion. I need to look at that. Is that the same year? Probably not. Probably, I feel like that's not the same year, but um, I really loved that time going to the movies consecutively, day to day to day to day. Like that was really awesome for an entire week. I loved it. One of my favorite parts of my childhood. But I know, see, I don't know if it was the same week. I'm guessing the years are different because this is like what, 90, what is this, 95, I think. So that's probably not correct because I feel like Romeo and Michelle's was for the following year, maybe. But Romeo and Michelle, watching that was another example of that, of when my sister was at art camp. Also, not art camp. I went to art camp. She went to Girl Scouts camp. I remember Forrest Gump, when I saw that in the theater. That was also because of my sister going to Girl Scout camp. So yeah, it was just, I don't know, it was just really cool seeing movies back to back to back. Anyway, yes, this is one of my favorite movies of all time, top fiver. Sometimes I think about dropping it down to 6. I never know. I say that, I think about that all the time. Like I wrestle with that a lot. But I do love this movie. It's very dramatic and exciting and thrilling. And we know how it's going to end, but I still find it incredibly engaging. The score is great. Tom Hanks is great. The whole cast is great. Gary Sinise, Kevin Bacon, Bill Paxton. My goodness, it's an amazing cast. I love it. Ron Howard directed it. Next, we have Arrival. So this movie, I think my wife really liked it, right? I think my wife really loves this movie. Look at that, still in the packaging. We haven't opened it yet, but looks like we've owned it for a while. This usually means I bought it on Black Friday for super cheap. But this one, like, I liked the concept and everything, but honestly, I feel like everybody loves this movie a heck of a lot more than I do. I'm not saying I don't like it, but I don't think I have the love for it that other people have for it, like where it's like their favorite science fiction movie. I like a lot of it. But I feel like, again, I like the ideas more than the actual sitting down and watching it part, that sort of thing. Like, you're telling me about the movie, I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds great, that sounds great. Or you're watching the trailer, because I think I really like the trailer for it also. But then when I was watching it, I was like, I mean, I like what this is all about, but you know, kind of, I don't know. I wasn't checking my time. I don't check my watch. I don't check my phone when I'm watching a movie, so or seeing it in the theater. But I feel like I had those sort of like thoughts maybe of like, this is moving at a snail's pace. Maybe, I don't know. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I've watched it, but I feel like those were the sort of memories that I have of it. But anyway, there's Arrival. So here's the thing. How are we going to rank them? So here's the thing. I already know Apollo 13 is number 1. But the question is, Arachnophobia, upon rewatch, was a major disappointment. Sorry, everybody. And then Arrival, I was just like never really into, other than like the concept of it, right? So it's like, and I like a lot of the special effects. Again, the ideas are great. So what am I supposed to do here? Do I go with loving the ideas and the special effects and all of that, the story, but not maybe the execution or something? I don't know what my problem is with it. Or do I pick something that I have a great deal of nostalgia for, loved as a child, but upon rewatch I'm not as into? So the question is, how do we balance this here? How do we determine what is number 2 and 3? You know what I think I might do? I'm gonna go with memories, because I had so many years of watching Arachnophobia, and well, I had young years of watching it, but I had a middle section of my life thinking it was great. And I guess those memories, even though I've rewatched the movie and I'm not as into it, I just feel like that can't be taken away from me, even though I realize now they were misguided thoughts on the film. Maybe I need to rewatch it again. So I think I'm going to go with loving this as a child, and then the memories of it being great for so long, even though I destroyed that for myself. Destroyed's not the right word, but I'm still going to use that word even though it's the wrong one. Destroyed that for myself. Last October, 2 Octobers ago. So I'm going to go Apollo 13, then Arachnophobia, then Arrival. So my question to you is, have you seen these films, these three right here? And if so, what do you think of them? And if you've seen all three, how would you rank them? I'd love to know. Let me know in the comments below, and perhaps we'll see you tomorrow for more Pure Hangout.